able to get strike breakers, or we've gotten very few. And then all of a sudden, yesterday morning, uh, they brought in 220 wetbacks. These are the illegals from Mexico.
Mike. I want to thank Mike Zavala for actually bringing this to my attention. I had heard about it, kind of just like the SPM videos. I didn't believe it, because, he's always been held to a higher standard. He's always been held to a big historical, you know, pretty much god for the civil rights era as far as Chicanos went. But after doing a little digging more into the history of it, I think that Chavez was probably just as much of a divider that he was a uniter. Because although he did unite his people in the farming community, in the union community, he didn't really unite, I guess, what I like to refer to as Calimacs now: Central American, Latinos, Indigenous, Mexican American Chicanos. Some people may ask, Gil, why would you even do a video about this? It's a very controversial topic, or at least you're making it. Well, I'm doing it because it teaches us. It teaches us the rights and wrongs when we start organizing us ourselves. It teaches us, although he had a great idea to get wages up for his people, to make better working conditions, to pretty much just help out. And it was mostly the Central Valley, the union workers out there, and that's exactly what it was. I believe he took about it in a wrong way. He took about it in a way that he's stepping on, at the time, was Mexicans' necks. And when I say Mexican, I mean illegals. I think Chavez was probably one of the first Chicano guys who made that division and kind of made that distinction that, hey, we're Chicanos, you guys are wetbacks, man. And I started doing my little homework, and I ran across this interview with Epifano Camacho. Epifano Camacho is one of Cesar Chavez. Pretty much, he started around the same time as Chavez, but he was a little more militant than Chavez. He was also about kicking ass, but where I believe him and Chavez started parting ways was where Chavez really began to push an agenda against illegal immigrants. He phrased them as wetbacks, used the phrase, was never afraid to talk to them in that manner. And let me give you a little bit of an interview with Epifano Camacho that he did a few years back. But it's a great interview, guys. Oh, here we go. Let me see where he's at.
Pero seguía la tendencia de echar a la culpa a los indocumentados. Y yo como que sí aceptaba esa idea de que eran los indocumentados. Pero a veces reaccionaba. Yo decía, pero si son trabajadores y no saben que hay huelga, pero los rancheros los traían hasta de Arizona, indocumentados, y los metían a trabajar. Era obvio que no les explicaban que había huelga y los metían.
He's saying that a lot of the undocumented workers that came here were picked up by the owners of the farmlands, taken to work. A lot of them didn't know there was even a strike going on. You got to remember, this is a time where there wasn't social media, there wasn't, Instagram, emails, any stuff like that. Communication wasn't given and taken as easy as it is now. He said a lot did come out of working, did not cross that pick line, and of course a lot of them stayed.
Muchos no entraban a trabajar, muchos se salían, pero muchos se quedaban. Se generalizó aquí la idea de que eran los indocumentados los que quebraban la huelga. Y no era eso, eran también los residentes.
Right there, he's saying that it wasn't just the undocumented people that were breaking the strike. It was also the people that were residents, that were citizens. So it wasn't just the undocumented. This is a gentleman that was there on the front line.
Uh-huh. Ciudadanos y no ciudadanos andaban todos al agua revuelta. Ganancia de pescadores, decían, pues ahorita hay trabajo, pagan bien porque aumentaron los salarios.
A los esquiroles, right. Yeah.
Después empezamos Chávez con la política de hacer protestas frente a las oficinas de migración en Bakersfield, a exigirles que sacaran los indocumentados.
And that's the kind of stuff that's just is blowing my mind. He's saying that Cesar Chavez started getting the UFW, United Farm Workers, to protest at a Bakersfield INS, protesting, and nowadays we talk about close ICE, abolish ICE. Cesar Chavez, the great guy who was supposed to be for the raza, was protesting at an INS in Bakersfield because he believed that INS wasn't doing their job properly, that he wanted them to arrest and deport illegal immigrants. Let's keep going.
Como responsables de que no podíamos nosotros ganar nuestra huelga. Y la inmigración como que no oía, porque le convenía que si había esquiroles indocumentados.
And it's funny, he's laughing right now because he's saying the INS wasn't trying to help because they wanted the illegals to keep working at the farms because their farmers were the ones that had a little bit of power over there.
Pues les convenía apoyar a los rancheros dejándoles los indocumentados ahí como esquiroles. Pero yo ya no me gustaba la cuestión de que Chávez pasó la regulación. Todos los huelguistas deben de traer nombres y domicilios de indocumentados para que el comité de huelga les eche la inmigración.
Wow. So he's right there saying that Chavez started making a new policy that whoever was part of that UFW movement, they would want them to get names and addresses of every undocumented person they knew so they could send INS there to deport them. Let's keep going.
Y así llegaban cientos de nombres y domicilios de indocumentados.
Wow.
A mí me cabe la satisfacción de que yo nunca quise dar nombre, ni un nombre, ni un domicilio. Ya veía yo la cosa como que ya era una cuestión muy directamente en contra del indocumentado, cuando no eran ellos los únicos, pero a ellos se les echaba toda la culpa.
They were the ones getting all the blame. They weren't the only ones crossing the picket line. Does it sound somewhat familiar? It sounds almost like the politics of the last president. We're the ones getting the blame for the country going to shit. It's illegal immigrants. We're the ones bringing in the drugs, even though America's appetite for drugs is bigger than it's ever been. We're the ones that are taking the jobs that in reality, none of these guys have the backbone or the huevos to do. We as Calimacs are the working force in the United States. And he's pretty much saying what was happening back then is what's happening now. And that's why I'm making this video, because we need to learn from our mistakes. So let's keep going.
Hubo muchas protestas en frente de las oficinas de migración en Bakersfield. Y era una lucha así, ¿no? De racismo. Y hubo una entrevista con la televisión en Los Ángeles. Yo fui con Chávez, y allí Chávez, en su declaración que hizo ante la Cámara, dijo que había que cerrar la frontera para no dejar pasar al indocumentado. Eso no se llevó a cabo, pero sí seguía, eso se seguía discutiendo, ¿no? Aclarando que muchos indocumentados participaron con nosotros como huelguistas también. Caminaron hasta Sacramento durante la marcha que había.
Well, he's also saying that Chavez went on a news interview, which I'm going to show you here in a little bit, where he talked about closing the borders, not letting legal immigrants come back, wetbacks, as he put it. But he's also stating that when they went to the march to sign their contracts and everything, that many illegal immigrants were there side by side with them. So it's just showing the hypocrisy of the whole thing, man. So let's keep it pushing.
Hecho. Y cuando se firman los contratos en junio de 1970, lo primero que hizo Chávez poner en la ventanilla arriba, de la ventanilla donde entregaba las tarjetas de despacho para ir a trabajar, en la ventanilla arriba puso con letras grandes: a todo trabajador que no cuente con papeles de residencia legal no puede ser miembro de este sindicato.
Wow. So after signing the contracts, the boycott is over, the strike is over. Epifino says Chavez puts his big sign in front of the window to their office. If you are an undocumented person, in other words, if you're illegal, you cannot be part of the UFW. We don't want you. Kind of reminds me of no dogs, no Mexicans in this restaurant. But now it's the Chicanos doing it.
Aunque habían participado en la huelga.
Los que habían caminado inclusive hasta Sacramento quedaron afuera.
Wow.
Entonces, entre ellos, pues, había muchos indocumentados y...
This is what he continues to say.
Carpas con lona, con
Oh,
miembros
this
de
is when he's talking about. Let me go back.
tratos.
Otra huelga.
Tuvimos que estallar otra huelga.
Right.
He said the contract expired
Y
and they
como
had to do another
seguía la
strike.
creencia de que eran los indocumentados, Chávez puso en la frontera se llamó la línea mojada.
The wet line. Yeah. The wet line was a policy that the UFW, United Farm Worker, ran by Chavez, Cesar Chavez. The wet line was pretty much the original Minutemen. They went down, I believe, to the borders of somewhere in Arizona. And they started catching illegal guys crossing the border, beating them up, turning them into INS. Sound familiar, guys? History repeating itself, but the damn shame was this was in the 70s, and we were doing it to our own. Why? Because we were too, and I say we because we are a part of it, both sides. The movement of the UFW was more pushed for union. It was just to get the union in. They separated us into two sides. One was union, one was non-union, but the union back then didn't want any illegals because they were taking up their jobs, even though now unions would pretty much try to take anybody they can. Let's keep going.
Cada tanto de distancia ponía una caseta, carpas con lona, con miembros de la Unión, para ayudar a la migración a detener los indocumentados.
Wow.
Yo no participé, yo no quise ir a esa línea mojada, pero sabía cómo estaba funcionando. Golpeaban a muchos indocumentados.
Oh, he said they were hitting people.
Eso se publicó hasta en los periódicos. El New York Times
Yeah.
And West
Sí.
le
Public.
publicó eso.
Sí.
El caso que, simbólicamente o no, allí estaba la mejor prueba de cómo el sindicato adoptó una posición muy racista en contra del indocumentado. Y pues eso afectaba mucho el movimiento.
And that's where the slideshow's from. That's from the UFW, the Border Patrol. Jesus. All right, so that was one of his main guys. He's putting out there exactly what it is. Most people don't know that. I never really knew that. I had always heard. It was almost like that SPM one. I heard rumors. I heard this. I heard that. And then I went down the rabbit hole, man. And I found all this out. And it shook me. It kind of I'm not gonna say it broke my heart like I'm crying or anything like that, but it definitely shook me and made me reevaluate, rethink Cesar Chavez. And is Chavez a hero? Yeah, he's still a hero, but he's not a hero for all Calimax. He's a hero for the Chicanos, especially the Chicanos up north in the farmer type world, right? And I think that also helped to kind of create the division between north and south, where Chicanos from up north believed that anybody from down south were paisas, and us down here, we probably didn't like them, thinking they were acting black, or maybe now even acting more American than anything else. Because if you hear what Chavez was doing, what was implementing, Chavez would have been a Trump supporter today. There's no doubt about it. Listen to what he's saying. He sounds like, there's many Chicanos that kind of feel the same way he does. And I think that's a problem. I think that divides us more than anything. And it divides us into just one tribe, which, okay, we're Chicano. We're not paisas. We're not immigrants. Even though a lot of Chicanos will sit there and say, oh, I'm Mexican. Well, according to Cesar Chavez, man, Chicanos were one thing and the immigrants were something else. But you don't want to believe me? Let's hear it from the horse's mouth, man. Where are you at? Where are you at, buddy? Hold on. Here we go.
Is to really destroy the farm worker movement and to destroy it in such a way that will take away the rights of the workers to do basically two very important things in order to defend themselves and win contracts. One is that it takes the right to strike from us, and it also takes the right of boycotting.
Why do you need those rights? Well, what's so important about that?
But you say, we maintain that agriculture is different, it's always been different. This is why agriculture and farm workers were never organized before. As long as we have a poor country bordering California, it's going to be very difficult to win strikes, as strikes are won normally by other unions. We don't have an employer, as is the case right now in one of the strikes we have with the Butte Gas and Oil Company, where we've closed them down, then have been unable to get strike breakers, or we've gotten very few. And then all of a sudden, yesterday morning, they brought in 220 wetbacks. These are the illegals from Mexico. Now, there's no way to defend it against.
All right. Yeah, you heard right. That's the man, the myth, the legend. Let's go back real quick.
They brought in 220 wetbacks. These are the illegals from Mexico. Now, there's no way to defend it against that kind of strike breaking, and so therefore the only way to win strikes is by then taking our fight to the citizens, to the people in the city especially, and have them help us boycott those products that we're striking, and we need that. And that's the only way we've been able to get contracts. And I venture to say that without that, we couldn't possibly organize unions.
Well, this is then you.
In one way, the only way.
They continue to just speak. It's only a little bit more video, but that's what it is, man. It's a damn shame, because you look at Cesar Chavez. If Cesar Chavez was alive today looking like that, they'll think he's an illegal immigrant, brother. But again, it goes back to us being tribal. It goes back to us just picking that one side. And my question is, now that history's pretty much written, did Cesar Chavez truly unite raza? But I think he did to raza, or what it meant back then, because even now some people say raza just means Chicano. Well, if you just want to, if you just want to unite raza, then you're gonna exclude a whole many other group of Calimacs, man. Central American, Latinos, Indigenous, Mexican Americans, Chicanos, man. We're so many people. If you're just gonna put yourself in one category, you're gonna exclude the rest. There will never be no unity. And I think that's where Cesar Chavez dropped the ball. I believe if he would have included the illegal immigrants at the time, actually helped them with his cause. Because even nowadays, when you have union, you have people who are legal and residents, they cross the line. It had nothing to do with being illegal or being legal or a citizen. But I believe that he shunned the rest of the community. I think he was wrong. Do I still think he's a hero? Yes, I definitely think he's a hero. I think He did something that no other Chicano had ever done, was bring so many people together, was brought so much light onto a problem. The only thing was that he used his own people to step on our necks to get there. This is the video that I've been talking about, that I've been wanting to make. Whether you agree with what I say, leave me a comment. Whether you disagree, leave me a comment. This is a dialogue that we need to have as Calimacs, but to move forward. If you felt disrespected, sorry about your luck. It wasn't meant for that, man. It was meant for educational purpose. So I hope you guys liked the video. Make sure to subscribe. Make sure to like. Make sure to leave a comment, Playboys. I'll get at you later, man. Bye.